Welcome to the final part of my 7-day challenge to eat only food featured in the classic sitcom Red Dwarf. After a mixed bag of a week so far, I'm gonna skip.
Today's fish is trout a la creme.
This is a very, very good meal. We're starting today with something delicious. Good morning, it's day 6 and it's time for breakfast. And today I'm going very simple. From series 3, episode 6, it's waffles with fresh strawberries, fresh cream and maple syrup. Now this appeared in the episode called The Last Day, in which Crichton was to be replaced with another droid. And this was a meal that Crichton brought to Lister at the very start of the episode, of which Lister refused to eat because he's his own man and he wants to make his own breakfast.
I'll get me own smacking breakfast.
Very good, sir.
Crichton throws it in the bin.
Bon appetit, Ben.
Lister retrieves it from the bin and then eats it out of his hat. I will not be eating this out of a hat.
Mr. David, sir.
Very simple. I've just got some pre-packaged waffles here, which I just put on the plate. I have some amazing, massive looking fresh strawberries. Look at the size of these things. That's incredible. I mean, it looks big because it's close to camera, but you know, the size of the face, right? It's pretty big. Fresh cream. This is left over from dinner yesterday. I didn't use a lot of it, so there's still quite a bit of that left. And then of course some maple syrup as well. So I'm just going to start by whipping the cream up. Let's put a bit of that in there. And I'll throw a little bit of sugar in there to sweeten it up a little bit. And then it's time to whizzy. There we go, that's the sort of consistency we want. Fresh peaks. Okay, so I'm just going to slice up the strawberries. And I'll put some cream on top of each waffle. Add our strawberries. Things I don't normally have overly sweet stuff for breakfast, so this is going to be interesting for me. And finally some maple syrup. Let's have a taste of this thing. That's so good. Although it tastes more like dessert than breakfast. Well, I'm going to go and enjoy this breakfast because I don't think lunch is going to be very enjoyable. So for lunch today I'm having more Kippers, but not just any old Kippers. I'm having Kippers Vindaloo. I told you I'm not looking forward to this. So the origin of this is from series 3 episode 4 Body Swap. It's another thing we don't actually see but is mentioned.
Nothing wrong with Kippers for supper.
But Kippers Vindaloo.
There's two ways to do this. I could either just boil up the Vindaloo sauce and place the Kippers on top, a bit like what we did with breakfast the other day. Or, and this is the option I'm going to go for, I am going to put the Kippers inside the Vindaloo and stir it up. Because that's what you would normally do with, like, say, chicken, for example, chicken Vindaloo. But because we didn't see the dish in the show, it gives me a bit more creative freedom with this, shall we say. Yeah, let's do this. Let's just throw about half of this jar of sauce into a pot. And I'll save the rest of that for another time. So with these Kippers, I think I'm only going to put maybe 1 or 2 fillets inside. Because then one of the other ones we can have as decoration on top. I've also got some leftover rice from the other day, so I'm just going to nuke that. So I've chunked up the Kippers, so hopefully they'll all stay together and not just disintegrate in the sauce. My hands feel so oily now. We'll just give that a minute to heat through and we'll just dish it up. Okay, firstly the leftover rice. Not very neat. I'm not claiming to be Michelin star here. And then we'll pour on some curry on top. Finally, another kipper on top for decoration. Because that's going to improve it, isn't it? I am so reluctant to eat this. But you know what, I'm going to have something else with it. The other day I was in the shop and I found some Tango Mango. Or Mango Tango. I'm going to go Mango Tango. If you haven't seen my other video where I taste tested all of the Tango flavours and tested it alongside the Fanta, this didn't feature because I hadn't seen it. Let's give it a taste. Oh, that is quite nice. Ooh, it's quite refreshing. Anyway, we're not here to taste that. We're here to taste this monstrosity. I mean, the pieces have stayed together pretty well. So, let's try this. Obviously very salty because it's Kippers. Yeah, the saltiness really overpowered the taste of this Vindaloo sauce. I'm going to say no. I wouldn't go as far as to call it vile. I mean, it's not so unpleasant that I'm not going to eat another bite. But I'm not enjoying it, put it that way. So I'm going to say Kippers Vindaloo is not for me. I'm going to give it like a 1 out of 10. It's pretty bad. Okay, so for dinner today, we are going a little bit upmarket. And we are going to Series 7, Episode 6, Beyond the Joke. In this episode, Crichton prepares a really nice dinner for everyone.
Smells good, Crichton. What is it? Ta-da! Lobster.
And they just completely ignore him and go and play a game on the AR suite.
We're going to visit Pride and Prejudice Land.
What about the supper?
Perhaps I didn't make myself clear. I said supper is ready.
So I'm going to recreate that dinner now, kind of, using this thing. Look at him. Cute little Canadian lobster. Hello. This is the first time I've ever actually had my own lobster at home. I've eaten it in restaurants, but I've never actually had one at home. So this is going to be fun. And I'll tell you what I'm most definitely not going to do. I am not eating it with any brown sauce. Because I don't want Crichton to blow his top.
Is there any ketchup? Any what? Brown, not tomato, brown. You want brown ketchup? I simply cannot.
In the episode, we don't exactly see what they're eating, but Crichton does say he's going to serve it with a delicate cream sauce. So I've taken some inspiration from that, and instead I'm going to have a creamy, cheesy, bacony sauce instead. So that's what we're going to be eating you with. So the ingredients list is pretty small. Aside from the lobster, all we've got is some bacon, some double cream, onion, garlic, Parmesan cheese, and lemon. Oh, and the brown sauce, just in case.
Ketchup with lobster? You want?
I'm going to start by chopping bacon. We want sort of a small dice. Of course, if you wish, you could just buy like pancetta or already sliced bacon. It actually didn't take me too long to find a lobster in the supermarket, surprisingly. It was £12 for a whole cooked lobster, which I don't think is too bad actually. And then we're going to finely dice an onion as well. Now the recipe I'm following assumes that I have a raw, uncooked lobster, but this one is a pre-cooked lobster, so I'm just going to ignore all of those steps of talking about cook the lobster. So I'm also going to be eating this with tagliatelle, so I'll just prepare the sauce, mix in the cooked pasta, and then just shove the lobster on top. The sauce doesn't take very long, so first things first, we're going to get the tagliatelle cooking. I've got about 8 balls of tagliatelle in here, and then on this other pot, straight in with the bacon. Okay, that's been cooking for a few minutes, so I'll throw in the onion, and then I'll also squeeze in my garlic as well, freshly crushed. Okay, at this point you want to add some salt and pepper as well. You're going to cook that until they start to brown. While that's working away, I'm going to freshly grate the Parmesan. Always good to freshly grate it rather than to buy it pre-grated, because it just tastes a lot nicer. I'm starting to get a bit of colour on these onions now. So at this point I'm going to add in a few knobs of butter, really get that going nicely. Starting to smell absolutely amazing. I just love the smell of cooking butter. Okay, next we're going to go in with our double cream. I've got an entire tub here, 300 mils. Not quite sure how much to put in. I'll just put in most of it for now, but I'll keep some aside just in case. I'm going to go in with my freshly grated parmesan. Okay, let's just give that a quick taste. Oh, that's really nice. I'm also going to add a little bit of lemon juice as well. Not too much. So much better. Right, now I'm just going to take the pasta and add it into the sauce. Give it a nice toss in the sauce there. And let's just layer this awesome pasta right on the plate. And we take our delicious lobster, complete with legs that have fallen off, and just place you right on top. Some lemon wedges. There we go. Lobster in a cheesy, creamy sauce. How amazing does that look? I'm quite proud of myself. Let's go get it out. Here we go. One plate of awesome lobster tagliatelle thing. And then all the extra bits of lobster on the end here. Wow, I'm going to try just the pasta first. See what this is like. Oh, that's really good. Okay, I managed to get the claw meat out of one of the claws. Oh yeah. Lobster is really, really good meat. Oh, yum. Okay, I'm going to be so undignified now and get the towel. So I've cut this in half and I noticed it's got lots of roe on the inside of it. So this is clearly a female lobster. But the packet did say that it may contain roe, so... Oh, I love that fishy flavour. But this pasta is great though. I'm going to say that's a very, very successful dinner, despite the fact that I can't get half of the meat. And also the fact that this lobster was clearly pregnant. You were ever so delicious. I would definitely eat you again. We'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, and this is the final day of my Red Dwarf food eating challenge. And we're going very simple for breakfast today. We're going with Crispies.
Crispies! Holly says you like these.
This is as featured in the very first episode, when we first are introduced to the character of Cat. Lister feeds the cat some Crispies. Doesn't specify what they are, so I'm just going to assume it's Rice Krispies. But because I'm cheap, I've gone for the Tesco own brand version, Rice Snaps. However, one thing I will not be doing is eating it off the floor.
Hey, you monkeys eat off the floor? Ain't you got no style or sophistication?
You need some class. Good Crispies.
Good Crispies, man.
For lunch today, we are going back to Series 3, Episode 5, Time Slides. And this is a scene set in an alternate reality where Lister is uber famous, and but yet he still eats the crap that he's known for.
A sausage and onion gravy sandwich on white bread with a glass of sterilised milk.
Which sounds very simple, but I'm going to make my own onion gravy from scratch, which is something I do quite a lot. And I kind of have my own recipe. I say recipe, but I keep throwing random bits in every time, so it's different every time. It just depends on how I feel. So let's go see what happens this time. So for the most basic onion gravy, you just need an onion. Which sounds pretty obvious to start with. But yeah, basically just an onion, a beef stock cube or stock, and some flour. And then you can throw other bits in, which I will do as we go along. So the way that I like to make onion gravy, and it also seems to be a similar way to how it is on the episode, is actually have nice long strips of onion. So we'll just get our pan nice and hot, and then we'll fry that off in a bit of olive oil. This pan still smells slightly of Vindaloo. And then we go with the onions. So while those are sweating off, I'll just prepare my beef stock. Literally just an OXO cube which I will then just dilute in some hot water, and when we're ready we'll throw that into the mixture. So I forgot to mention, I've already got the sausages in the oven, just cooking. They're basically the Cumberlands which I had for breakfast the other day, same ones. So now I'm just going to add in some garlic. Bit of extra flavour. But these onions are looking lovely right now. Lovely and brown. Of course, the longer you cook them, the browner they get, and therefore the browner the gravy. So what we'll do now is add in some flour. I never measure this out, I just bung some in based on instinct. Which I know isn't helpful if you're trying to use this as a recipe, but I'm sorry, but this is how I cook. So what that does is just absorbs whatever moisture is left, and also prevents it from going lumpy when you add in the liquid. So now this is where you can add in your flavours. Today I've decided to go for 2 herbs. I've got some sage, and I've got some thyme. I chose these because I'm eating this with a peppery sausage, so I think the sage and the thyme will just sort of complement that sausage very well. So now I'm just going to let that simmer for a bit and let all the flavours infuse. Let's give that a toast. That is tasting quite nice, but there's one extra thing I want to add to it. I do this quite often, it just adds an extra little kick. Worcestershire sauce. It's amazing stuff, amazing stuff. Now you notice that this gravy is actually extremely thick. And normally I would make a thin gravy to go with like a Sunday roast. However, I'm making this thick because if you look at what Lister was actually eating, it looked a bit congealed on the plate. So I'm deliberately going for a very, very thick gravy, just to be a bit more accurate to the sauce material. So I've got my sausages here. We're going to cut them in half, and then we're going to fry them in a pan. What we want is to get them nice and cooked on all sides, because obviously when you just cut it open, that's what happens. But what you want is a nice coating, crispy coating on the inside of the sausage. And there we go, that is the perfect kind of finish I wanted on this. So let's throw that on our sandwich. If it will stop sticking to my tongs. And then we get our super thick onion gravy. And I'm going to slather that on top as well. And here we go. Sausage and onion gravy sandwich. Let's give that a go. And of course, a glass of milk to go alongside it. This is not the sterilised milk like Lister had, but well, it doesn't matter. I'm not drinking it as part of the challenge. Anyway, look at this. And of course I've cut it into triangles because triangles are more delicious. I can see that even when Lister's a millionaire, why he still eats these. It's not often that I put gravy in a sandwich, but my god, it's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, incredible, awesome. All of the superlatives is great. Definitely give this one a go. This is getting like a 9 out of 10. I need to start doing this more often with my leftover gravy. It's the final meal of the week, and we are finishing with probably the spiciest dish that's ever featured on the show, Lister's very own Shami Kebab Diablo.
It's beautiful, man. It's like eating molten lava.
This featured in Series 3, Episode 3, Polymorph, and it's Lister's own recipe. Basically, he just bungs a whole bunch of stuff into a microwave, presses go, and turns out as kebabs. Because that's how food cooking works in the future. There were a few clues as to what was in there. We know there's a lot of chili powder, we know there's a lemon, and we know that there's tomato paste. But other than that, the ingredients are a bit of a mystery. So I did some Googling, and Shami Kebab's actually sort of a flat, almost like a burger type shape. Whereas in the episode we see them as more of a sausage. So I've taken inspiration from a regular Shami Kebab and adapted it into how I feel like the producers and Lister felt it should have been. So I'm going to make it using lamb mince, and we're going to put in a lot of spices. So here we have some chili powder, coriander seeds, some crushed chilies, paprika, garam masala, black pepper. We've also got some fresh bird's eye chilies, ginger and garlic. We've got some caramelised onion, which I prepared earlier and allowed to cool. We're also going to throw in some fresh herbs, some coriander and some mint. We'll be binded together using some breadcrumbs. And these final two ingredients weren't on the recipe that I'm using, but we saw that Lister uses them, so we have to use them. Lemon and tomato paste.
Lemon juice? What the hell is that? It's for cows. Artificial insemination.
This is relatively simple to prepare. All you need to do is just combine all of the ingredients. So let's just get some of our coriander seeds and some black pepper into our mortar and pestle. Or pestle and mortar, or... Honestly, I don't even know if that's the correct words or even which way around it is. Grind those up. So next I'm going to take out my lamb. And we're just going to plunk that into our bowl there. And then we'll add everything in. So we'll start with the coriander and the black pepper, which we've just prepared. Paprika. Also got some crushed chilies here. And then a lot of hot chili powder. That should be enough. Also going to throw in some garam masala. You notice I'm not measuring any of this because it's Lister that's cooking, so why would you measure anything? Okay, let's get some of our bird's eye chilies. And we'll add that into the mix. So now we're going to crush in our garlic and our ginger as well. Okay, let's add in our onions. I'm not sure we're going to put them all in. Let's put maybe about half of that and we'll see how we go. And then the breadcrumbs. To help bind that. I'll keep that to the side just in case I need some more. And some fresh parsley and some fresh mint leaves as well. I'm gonna put in a squeeze of lemon juice and then the tomato paste. Okay, I think that's everything. What I'm gonna do, because there's so much chili in this, I'm gonna mix it with my hands with gloves. This is going to be stupid hot, I can feel it already. Okay, let's just get this all combined. Of course I'm completely strained from the recipe because it's Lister's recipe and he does describe it as eating molten lava, so it needs to be hot. So I have some wooden skewers here. I'm just going to take some of this and wrap it around the skewer. These have been soaking in water for a little bit because it just helps to bind it onto the skewers apparently. And here they are, a little bit thicker than I was anticipating. Maybe I'll roll them a bit thinner, but I'm going to put these in the fridge for about half an hour. Hopefully that will firm them up a bit and stop them from falling apart whilst cooking. Cool. Okay, these are freshly out of the fridge now. I was debating on actually how to cook them because I was going to fry them, but these are looking a bit too delicate, so I feel like instead I'm going to stick them in the oven. I'll give that maybe 20 minutes and check it out then. Give it a bit longer if I have to. And here they are, freshly cooked. They smell absolutely incredible as well. I think that garam masala was just adding that extra little something to it. Let's grab one, stick it on our plate. I've got this with a sarcastic salad as per Dave's plate, and here they are, Dave Lister's Shami Kebab Diablo. Let's give it a go. Well, this smells absolutely amazing. Looks a bit like a turd, but then again, so did it in the episode, so that's true to life, right? And of course you're going to have it with some red wine, although this is not in one of those glasses, shall we call them. Cheers. Let's remove the skewer and see what it's like. Well, it's cooked on the inside at least, so. It's pretty hot. Wow. Whew. It is literally like eating molten lava.
You seriously like them that hot?
He's trying to kill me!
Oh, it's a good one, huh?
Look at this thing. Would say one thing, it's a little dry, so I'd probably do with some like mayonnaise or something to go with it. Or how about some extra hot sauce? This was the winner of the hottest hot sauce that I tried the other day. That'll add some moisture to it, won't it? Yeah. I feel like if I was to do this again, I wouldn't make it quite as spicy as this though, but I think the principle of the kebab is really good. Well, this has been an amazing week. Some interesting stuff. But now I'm going to cut to me in the future to tell you what I think of the week as a whole. Wow, that was quite a week. It was very interesting trying all of those different and interesting foods and stuff that probably should never have been put together in the first place, but let's break it down. Well, let's start by saying what my favourite breakfast was. And I have to say it's a bit of a toss-up between the strawberries, waffles and cream, which was really nice, but it did feel more like dessert, but it was delicious. But my favourite individual item that I had has to be the fried egg chili chutney sandwich. I mean, wow. Like, I know that was probably put together as a joke by the writers, but honestly, these flavour combinations really work together. My favourite lunch is a bit of a toss-up again between the sausage and gravy sandwich or, and this is going to shock some people, the sugar puff sandwiches. I don't know what it is about the sugar puff sandwich, but it was actually quite nice and quite Moorish. And there's a lot of things that you can do to that to change it up, so you can add extra flavours to it. So maybe I might want to try it with some sriracha sauce. Oh, that would be really good actually. Favourite dinner? Chicken merengue, I would probably eat again, but I feel like I would maybe change up the recipe a little bit because it was kind of a little bit bland. But also that trout a la creme and the lobster pasta. I really like the pasta element and I like the taste of lobster, but it's just so much effort to get it out. So I feel that if I have like lobster pieces pre-made, I can just add to it. That would just make it better. Then I can toss it into the pasta rather than adding a whole lobster on top. Also, if you're going to make Shami Kebab Diablo, be super careful. It was nice, I enjoyed it, I can handle heat. However, I fed one to my wife and we both felt it the following morning. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it there. Well, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I'm sure you're going to subscribe, like and comment and all of that. Yeah, good. Cool. Don't forget to check out these other videos. These ones here, that one there. And I'll see you again next time.